Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to Vipers, the reason why, and this was something that our analyst was talking about earlier, Marine Marauder Medevac is popular right now against Zerg because the ability to move quickly out of a cloud is what completely negates that cloud in the first place. In that game, though, as people pointed out, yeah, a Viper would have definitely helped. Blinding Cloud would have been absolutely phenomenal. Also, of course, the ability to pull a couple of tanks out of position here and there would have been great. What essentially happened there was Bly was just able to macro power his way through it and just smash his opponent. It was a crude way of doing it, but it did the job. So let's see what happens this game, folks, as our issues appear to be resolved. This man up to the northeast, of course, has to prove that his dominance is well asserted. He is playing Terran in the red trunks. He's KT Rolster's Flash.
And down the bottom left side, let's make as much noise as possible for him. He showed us, I would hands down say, the best game of the tournament so far. And it is match point for him as he is currently down 2-1, which is something he's going to have to absolutely watch out for. Give it up for Acer's Bly.
And here's what I think right now. It's that Bly was able to execute an exceptional strategy that Flash was clearly unprepared for. He was also able to execute an exceptional defense and blunt the initial aggression of Flash, although he didn't do it perfectly. He took damage from the second wave of Blue Flame Hellions that he should have hopefully been able to deflect. He wasn't able to do that. Bly showed a great game, but he showed a flawed game, and any of those flaws could get him killed against a player of this caliber.
Yeah, and so far, Bly actually opting not to go for any sort of cheese here. I mean, honestly, a player in this situation might think, you know, against a lesser player, I'm going to go for a 6-pool, something like that. I'm going to predict that Flash is going for an expansion here. But I've seen Flash hold off many rushes like that, and unfortunately for Bly, I mean, that 6-pool may have actually done quite a bit of damage here, as Flash is going to go for the command center first. But Bly, I got to hand it to him. Such an epic series so far. Decides, you know what? Everything's fine. I'm going to macro right on up.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. Doesn't send out a drone scout, I don't believe. No, actually he did. He did go and send that out, and it does get into the base, of course. There was no way of really stopping that with that kind of timing. Does a little bit of damage here and there. He would love to kill that SCV and just delay that base more, but he's not able to do that. That drone will die if he attempts to do it again. He may decide to gas steal, and he actually steals the one that was being built on in the first place, which is a nice little delay. Flash currently still sitting on no gas. I have to wonder if Flash was trying to grab that to stop that from happening. It seemed like it would have been a weird timing otherwise. And he is getting out. It could get out of there with this drone, actually. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't tried to do it. This drone's probably going to die now.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that the drone there is going to survive overall.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, usually Flash would just raise that depot no problem and taking it out, especially since the double barracks. I mean, it's already been spotted. So this is Flash saying, you know what, I'm not going mech. He would have either had gas by now or not had a second barrack. So that was actually really good at scouting there by Bly, keeping it alive long enough just to spot that here. And I think that Flash, you know, this is how you have to beat Flash, is to prepare for exactly what he's doing and to hold it off perfectly. So we'll see. Right now, I mean, Bly's making the right moves, but anytime you go against Flash, it takes a lot more than that.
It does indeed. Now, there's 2 workers in that gas. That seems to me that that's deliberate. There's no way he would make a mistake like that. He's just far beyond that level. And there are only 2 hatcheries here. Now, I talked about this idea earlier when we saw Flash go CC first on the low ground before. You've got 2 options against a Terran that is able to get that base down that quickly. Either you take a third, or you do something on 2 bases that is designed to do enough damage to get you back into the game.
Right.
And since we're not seeing a third base coming out as of yet, I don't know, is that a drone coming around? Or is that a scout? There is something on the minimap right there. No, it's just a link, so he's not taking the third base. So where's he going with this? What is his plan, and how much damage is he going to be able to do with it?
Yeah, very interesting here. As you mentioned, you know, it really is up to Zerg to either macro ahead or tech ahead in some way, because you have to punch a Terran player, especially versus Flash. I mean, he will sit back on 2-3 bases and just steamroll you with his crazy good macro. I feel like his SCVs just mine more minerals, his units have more HP, and that's why the game we saw Bly win, you know, he was just going toe-to-toe the entire time. Now, he do have an Evo chamber in the back of this expansion right now, and he does have a second one. Oh, they are both there, and that's a very unscan-worthy location. The chances chances
Yeah.
of that being scanned are very slim. We'll see if it's going to be the one melee, one armor. I've seen that out of a lot of Zerg players. There's the melee right there, and obviously going to be researching the armor right on the back of that, and he does.
All right.
Now, I'm curious, is he going to try and go for Lings here to catch the army at an awkward time in the middle, or is he going to try and use Banelings to benefit from that plus attack? Very interesting move here from Bly.
Yeah, certainly. The weird thing is that he hasn't taken the third base yet, and you would think, oh, well, double evolution chamber at this stage with those double upgrades generally means I have in my mind about 10 minutes from now, sometimes even earlier than that, a good Ultralisk army. Yeah? And going for 3-3 and actually powering ahead with that. And it's a good style. It's an old Wings of Liberty style, but it definitely works. However, he is now only finally taking that third base. He may still be going for that option. The question is, are these upgraded Lings, and especially since he doesn't have a Baneling nest yet, going to do anything against what we're going to be seeing here from Flash, which is looking, I mean, it's looking like drops. There's a Stargate, there's a Starport going down. In fact, he could go for Banshees here. He could go Marine Hellion Banshee. That's totally viable too.
Yeah, it does take out the scouting SCB there, so a nice slight victory for Bly. And do we have the Lair Tech started just now? Creep Tumor's on the way. Baneling Nest just going to be starting right now, and the third base here. Now, I got to say, when I was thinking about those Marine Marauder medevac drops that we saw in the previous games, what Bly needed more of was Speedlings. He's definitely going to have no shortage of those right now, and that's going to help him defend this, because with the creep spread going, he can connect these bases. He's got the fast Lings. He can deal with those drops. Now, the question is the follow-up past that. Number one, if he doesn't take that much damage, what do you follow it up with? And number two, I mean, it's still Flash. He's still going to be having those medevacs dropping multiple locations at once. The lair timing should be right around when these upgrades finish.
Certainly.
We'll see if he starts 2-2.
Yeah, it seems like he will. His gas count is really high, and he's got nothing he can really spend it on now other than a few Banelings, which he's now preparing for. This will hit when 1-1 is done, assuming that it goes at all. It looks like he's going to go straight for the third base, which makes sense. Centrifugal hooks being added on. I'd expect the second one to be added on here, but he's going in for Station Pit quite early on here as well. And he could be powering forward for that 3-3 Ultralisk push, but right now he's going to have to deal with this. So let's just keep our mind on the plan, as it were. Medevacs will most likely join up. They'll be using the speed boost to actually get ahead, which means his push can start slightly earlier.
Here he goes. He's going to try and get Surround. He does manage to. Two
Surround's
Medevacs
coming
in.
in.
Save some, but not all.
Wow.
And a lot of those units inside are weakened. Remember, the Speedlings now, he can just run into his main base. That drop's going nowhere. Even with the boost, those Lings are already going to be there. Zerglings have a permanent speed boost, so I don't know how much damage it's actually going to do. Remember, those units are very weak on the HP. Going to clean those up easily. I don't think that was very many drone kills here, but the drop isn't over yet.
It's not over yet. A lot of damage has been done to the unit count, though. The cool thing about that is it caught the drop as it was happening. The problem with when you start doing that drop is you can't just pick those units right back up again, and it means that you're just going to lose more units in the process. That was really well defended there by Bly. Only one worker has been killed up to this point. That drop really didn't do a lot at all, other than, of course, force a lot of units out of Bly in the first place. He's now powering 11 drones. There is this drop that is now being reinforced. It's actually a much larger drop than it looks like. He showed one medevac. There are two more full of Marines on the way. Bly needs to be careful not to get caught out by a split attack.
Now, Baneling speed actually just finishing here. The timing could be
helpful.
better. Does he have any Banelings? Yes, he still has 8 right now. And here comes the drop right now. He speeds in instead of speeding away because he knows that there's no anti-air. Here comes the Lings right now. That 1-1 upgrade going to be huge. Flash used to having upgrade advantages, but not today. I think he is going to have enough here to take out those Lings and force the retreat on the workers here. Overall worker count 57 to 52. The Banelings right there. Nice control from Flash. This is basically what he has to do. He cannot miss a beat with these drops, or he is going to be way, way behind. But so far, so good.
Yeah, he's doing pretty damn well at the moment. He still hasn't killed a lot of workers, honestly, and he needs to do more of that. This drop defense has been good from Bly. You've got to give him all credit for that. Oh, the boost just kicks in at the right time. If he hadn't had that available, that medevac would have gone down to the Queen by the looks of it. Pulls back. He may try and go for the third again, but that's a very damaged medevac. Thus far, these have not been the drops of doom that we've been seeing up to this point, and Bly's been holding on. However, we have to bear in mind, Flash started with a CC on the low ground of 14 supply. He now has a third base fully up and running. He's got tanks, he's got medevacs. He is well prepared. Bly is currently relying on Ling Baneling and looking for the Hive Tech with the 3-3, most likely Ultralisk as well. Even going for the attack speed upgrade. There's the Ultralisk Cavern coming in, but he's still at a supply disadvantage. What can he do from here?
Yeah, I think, honestly, his main option is to go ahead and try to expand once again, because just off of 3 bases is going to be tough. You can still do it, but you have to have very cost-effective engagements. The drop over here, actually, protected by these Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers. The fungal growth could come out and be huge. Does land it, but 4 Marines right there. Not really what he was looking for. Might be able to save those 2. Nope, he leaves them for dead. Not that I can really blame him right now. There is a tiny Zergling counterattack gearing up in the top north, waiting to run by, but I mean, that siege tank is protected to the teeth there with supply depots. Does decide to go ahead and move that right now. The creep spread from Bly is good. He just needs to make sure if he's going to go for Ultralisk, he needs to be cost effective. He needs to make sure that Flash is caught out of position, and he cannot allow Flash to get a crazy split. Otherwise, those Ultras will be kited all day.
Very, very true. So far, Flash has only killed 3 workers. These drops have been pulling his opponent back, though. And it's like, oh, but he hasn't killed any workers. They're useless. No, the drops have been slowing Bly down. And that's been the real problem here. As Ling Run By comes into the 3rd base, it's shut down pretty well. Bly did get some kills there, but Bly's still way behind in supply because these 3 bases have been running for so long, and he hasn't been able to harass. So even though we haven't seen 20, 30 workers killed by these drops, it's still done damage, but indirectly.
Yeah, maybe this creep spread here from Bly being so good, it'll scare Flash into having to scan that, kill that off, buy enough time for the Infestors to get energy, buy enough time for the Ultralisk there, but I don't think Flash is going to fall for that as, well, maybe he will go ahead and go back here as the Zergling's buying him a couple of seconds, and right now, I mean, honestly, Bly needs to buy himself some time. When you have Ultralisk on the way, oh, dodges the scan there, that is huge. Flash usually lands those scans. I don't think he knows about the Ultralisk count. The Infestor count's just enough to grab this entire army. Flash preemptively going to be splitting here. When does Bly decide to bite? It can't be too soon. It can't be too late. He's going to go for it. And the Flash right there, you can see, retreats immediately. That hatchery going to get destroyed. But can Bly get a good engagement here? He needs one.
Bly's okay with losing that hatchery because he went for the really standard thing that Zerg do at this stage of the game on this map, which is to get 2. Yeah, he knows that one of them's going to get hit, so he builds 2 at the same time. That's the one I'm talking about right there, and it's away from the army. He knows that Flash's army is on the other side of the map, and there's creep all the way there. So there's no way he can sneak around and actually kill it. He can drop it, and he knows about it, but if he goes for it, that gives Bly a lot of time to react, and again, it buys him time. Does he have a big enough army, though? Because Flash still has an amazing army and a really great economy.
I gotta say, Bly actually held off one of those drops. Flash slipping on the micro there, ended up losing it, so the drop on the left side went down. There is a drop on the south side, and remember, Zerg players have very few options as far as anti-air in these situations. You can't really chase down those medevacs. You just have to deal with them with the Lings. That's exactly what he's going to be doing here. The Queen going to town on the medevac. Looks like it will be able to escape for now. If he loses a medevac full of units, though, it's not that big a deal.
Oh, the interception comes in. It looks like that medevac is, I believe it's dead, actually. Yeah, it did go down there. And then we have another drop coming in. It's not going to kill that base. Of course, it's not mining yet, but this is the big push. This has just moved on to creep. This is the big army here from Flash. Bly is way behind in supply here. He needs a good engagement. He's got Banelings, he's got Infestors and Ultralisks. He's got good upgrades. He has +3 melee. He's about to have the +5 armor there for those Ultralisks. He's actually going to attack, which I'm actually kind of surprised that he's done that. He gets the Link Run By there to do significant damage to that middle line, sends a few Ultras, and then backs up with the rest of his units to try and save the space. Links get the interception and managed to make that happen. Did he do enough damage there? He killed quite a few workers. He slowed Flash's economy down, and he kept that army back as well. So I think that's a win for him there.
The hatchery over here, he cannot lose this right now.
Flash needs to actually hit it. He's only hitting it with 1 Marine right now. There we go. He actually slowed his damage down significantly there. I don't think he could have killed the hatchery, but it could have done more damage to it, certainly. So, I mean, Flash is getting stretched here.
All right, here we go. Bly decides now's the time. He's going to go for the siege tank's a little bit late on the siege.
Oh!
Can he get the fungals off? The Ultras are stuck on that choke point, though, and Flash going to preemptively split these units. Look at that concave. He's going to be focusing them down. The Ultras fully upgraded right now, as Flash has only got the 2-2. Bly is going to go for it, but it's not going to be enough as the Ultras are slowly, now quickly at this rate, getting melted away. I don't think that was the engagement he was looking for. Overall, units lost were relatively even there, though. Very impressive from Bly. His creep spread still top-notch. Does he have the economy to make a new army?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it was a good engagement. There's so many losses on both sides there, and Ultralisk did get away. But as you said, was it the right fight to take? Did you want to take that much damage? Flash has a good economy. He is actually delayed in placing his base down thanks to the great link placement and the burrow there. And Bly now has a 4th base up. He's finally lost that 5th base at the top there. Can he remax an army of this size? His bank isn't that big, and Flash's economy is still looking pretty solid, although weaker than it was previously.
Yeah, you got to remember that Bly, he went for the early upgraded, basically for the advantage. He got that advantage in in that battle, but Flash has started the 3-3. More Lings over here on hold position right now to try and kill those off. May force a scan there. Not sure if Flash is going to bite. There it goes right there, and the Lings may be able to escape. Nope, decides to take out a couple Marines. We'll actually get them because of the stim pack being used right there. So his Lings actually being quite annoying, even forcing the delay on the mining, but Flash's macro so good. He's at 167 supply, but guess what? So is Bly. Uh-oh, he's got the Viper here. Looks like he was listening to our feedback, as now he will be able to use that Blinding Cloud. Remember, the Vipers basically have almost a full energy bar when they spawn, because you can use that consume ability to eat your own buildings to begin getting that energy. If he can throw down a few Blinding Clouds, that's not going to affect his army at all, and it could give Flash a run for his money.
He could. There is also one little move that I've seen used very, very rarely against medevac drops, and that's to use the Viper to actually... Oh, wow, great precision! Oh, it catches it out! Nice interception by Bly!
So random.
Well, yeah, it's a precognitive ability. Bly notices the medevacs are coming in. Huge run by now onto the third base. We'll talk about that silhouette maneuver in a minute. He smashes that line completely. More Ultras come in.
Be careful.
He
That's
still
a
has
choke
the
point.
Oh, it's
That's
dodgy.
A choke point.
He's going for it, though.
Right the
He's
C-Checks in the back. He decides to back out. That is going to supply block Flash. He actually managed to do it, taking down all those depots is absolutely huge. Flash right now is going to hover more resources than we're used to seeing out of him, and just now starting those depots to drop over here, finally taking out that very valuable hatchery, almost an invaluable hatchery. You got to remember that the economy options for Bly right now are running thin. He's been on 3 bases for a while.
Oh, he manages to save that, but only just. Yeah, you're right. He has been on 3 bases for a while. He has been mining a bit from the 4th base here and there. He's mostly getting gas from it, though. So he's feeding his Ultras, and he's looking for the Broodlord switch around as well with Infestors. But Broodlord Infestor is an older style. It's not as effective as it used to be anymore, thanks to the fact that fungal growth just isn't as good. But he has managed to effectively shut down the drop play, which is great. That means he can actually get those 5 bases mining. Now he's got Vipers.
Yeah, speaking of 5, he's got 5 Vipers on the field now. That's a lot of Blinding Clouds. Zergling counterattack again. Really going to be doing some damage here. The Marines, though, I think Flash finally said enough is enough. Got to leave those units behind and defend that quite easily. Looks like another drop going to get cleaned up. Both these players, I would say, playing at the top of their game here.
This is really good.
And units lost almost identical for both players, which is insane considering the pace of this game. And if Bly can kill off this little army that's kind of in the middle of the field, could make an engagement. But we are about to see one big battle. Is it going to be the final battle, or is it going to reset things? We're about to find out.
Well, let me put it this way. If Flash loses this army, remaxing is going to be difficult. He is down to 46 SCVs. Yeah, and that's actually on hold position, doing damage here as well. Takes down the 4th base. If he loses this army, this could be disastrous. Blinding Cloud.
Here we go. The Viper's going to be running in there.
Second Blinding Cloud.
Blinding Clouds, but the army, there was no army there. The Lings were not enough, and it looks like the Ultra's going to be running in here. Going to be able to do quite a bit of damage. The Blinding Cloud able to crush through those tanks.
Oh! The fungal massive!
What other huge army, man? Did you grab that? The Blinding Cloud's going to clean it up as Flash is
losing his army.
180 supply, 180. Bly's going to go for it. He's got 9 more Ultras on the way. He can't finish it just yet. The counterattack once again at the expansion up to the north, able to do some damage, but Bly has lost his base during this, so his income is very low, but so is Flash's.
And he just built 9 more Ultralisks on the bank that he was sitting on. Flash has no bank. He's taken too much damage. He's down to 37 workers. Bly's killed 45 this game with constant run buys, and another one comes in with 3 Adrenal Lings. He's going to lose a lot more SCVs here as well, and this is what is wearing Flash down. Flash can't afford to rebuild his army. Bly can. Bly can take inefficient engagements and he can make them work, but Flash is not done yet. He's got an army and he's throwing it at the 4th base. Down the 4th base goes. Flash is going to be really, really careful engaging against this army. Blinding Cloud is a possibility. It does lie as a fungal.
The Blinding
Where's
Cloud?
the Viper's not doing anything?
Looks like the Ultra's going to be able to do a whole
lot of damage. He gets it anyway.
He pushes through.
He gets it once again. The Blinding Cloud didn't contribute to the fight, but there was a lot more he had at his disposal to throw it at. Flash goes down to 100 supply. Bly takes a beating. But as you said before, the loss of the bases actually hurt Bly a lot. His income is going down really far right now, and Flash is starting to drop heavy mules onto this planetary fortress. Now Bly understands, I must kill the planetary.
He has to kill that off because he has no mining bases himself, just the 3rd base, which I wouldn't even call it a mining base at this point because it drops down too much.
Yeah.
Flash really extending out here. He's very confident in those battles, and with no fungals on the field, he should be. I don't think there's a single infestor left. No, there is not. This could be the last battle. There's a Blinding Cloud right there. Not enough Lings, though, to really benefit from it. The army's going to back all the way to the planetary fortress. These units just not giving up. Can Flash actually do it? He does hold right now. Income tab shows Flash ahead. No surprise there with the mules. He's also got a 2nd mining base as well. If Bly cannot establish these 2 bases, he's slowly going to bleed out. His army supply was in the lead, but no longer. Flash doing just enough damage.
Indeed, he's adding infestors on right here. He must establish those bases once again, and he can't afford to keep losing them the way that he is. He's trying to drain that extractor to get another blinding cloud available here. He deploys it, and he saves the base for the time being, but for how long? Flash is relentless. He wants that base. He wants right in the blinding cloud. Fungal, it's a good one as well. The middle gets crushed there by the Ultras. Bly is now behind, though. In terms of his supply, the Ultras are what's holding him together right now. Infestors moving in. There is enough energy for one more Fungal throw. He is right underneath that. The Ultras go down. Flash with a couple of units still staying alive. A couple more Ultras come in. He throws it back. Reinforcement. Flash is now back in the mix. He goes for the fourth base. There is nothing left for Bly to actually defend this right now, and he wanted to mine for that base so desperately. A single Marine even delaying mining at the fifth base right now. Fourth base is now down. Bly must secure that base to the top. He must hold it. Another Ling run by comes into the top. Everything going on in this game right now, but Flash managing to pull back ahead with excellent, tenacious play.
Yeah, there are some Zerglings out here. One Ultra with the Transfuse going down. The base on the left side finally up. I wouldn't necessarily say running. The Fungals come out. The one lone Ultralist trying to win the game for Bly. He can't do it just yet. Only Vipers, only Infestors. Flash winning with just a handful of units here as he's got to be pushing out, and the worker count is identical, which spells disaster for Bly because he does not have a base. Flash may be able to do it just barely.
He's going for it right now. Flash, through sheer force of will and excellent engagement, is able to turn this round in his favor. Bly plummeting in supply. Flash continues to hammer home the point and say, no, I will not lose in the round of 32. I am far too good for that to happen.
And
GG! Ladies and gentlemen, there it is.
And out.